Hello and welcome back for another episode of Books and Beer. We are back at Yellowhammer, which is where we were last time. This week we have the Sunliner. It's lovely. It's a Goza, so it's got a bit of a tart thing going on.
Beautiful can too.
Yeah, really nice design on the can. It's got some guava and some passion fruit, so some really, again, like tropical flavors. But what I like most about this is it has a like almost a salt finish. I think they were saying Himalayan salt.
Yes.
On the back end.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's not like sea salt. It's a very nice.
It's refreshing.
Finish. It's refreshing. There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know we have a wide array.
We did. We went totally different directions.
And because we have the Sunliner, I know you had a really cool theme for your book, so I was gonna pitch it to you first.
Well, you know, Sunliner to me is a convertible made by Ford in the 50s.
Yep.
I think there's like 3 or 4 of his cars were called Sunliners. Not the Mustang, but you think classic Ford convertible Sunliner. So I honestly just went on, I think Goodreads or something, and typed in books with convertibles on the cover. Got a mass list of them, cross-reference with what we had, and then I probably read through about 8 of them very quickly just to pick the 3 that I thought would work great.
See, you work for this show.
Well, you know, if I gotta read
Work for
3 books in a week, I'm gonna choose the books I really want to read. But yeah, so funny enough, all 3 books I picked had Ford convertibles on it, which is the Sunliner. It didn't occur to me because I was picking these off tiny little pictures on the computer screen. But this first one I picked, I'd actually read this book 2 years ago when it came out, 2019, The Vagabonds by Jeff Gwynne.
I would pronounce it Gwynne.
Yeah.
Guinn.
She had reviewed his book, The Autobiography of
Santa
Santa
Claus,
Claus, back in either
December.
early January or December, yeah.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so he writes a lot of nonfiction. He wrote The Vagabonds, which is a really interesting book. So Henry Ford and Thomas Edison were friends.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry Ford worked for Thomas Edison when he was younger. And so during like the 19-teens, they started taking road trips together.
I would love to be a part of that road trip.
I know. And so they went around the United States every summer. They would have these, discussions on like just theories that could make America better, and just talking ideas. And of course, back then the roads weren't ready for cars like they are now. So they started brainstorming about what kind of country do we need to have cars really become what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did all these trips together before they really got famous. But then, of course, after they got well known all over the U.S., they kind of had to start traveling with an entourage. And then suddenly, like Harvey Firestone Tires would come with them, because
Oh my gosh.
they all hung out, all those guys, apparently.
They're all besties.
Yeah, they are all besties. So much so that if you go to Greenfield Village, which Henry Ford built up in Dearborn, he has Thomas Edison's house, his workshop, Harvey Firestone's farmhouse he grew up in, and a working farm along with it. And George Washington Carver's cabin. He has all of his friends' homes.
Right there.
He just bought and moved to Greenfield Village. I'm like, well,
This is, for those of you who don't know what Greenfield Village is, this is a cute little tourist history stop you can make in Michigan.
I call it Disney World for historians.
It kind of is.
It's wonderful. So, anyways, this book primarily is between 1914 and 1924.
Okay.
It's very interesting in parts because they find themselves driving through North Alabama quite a bit, which is funny. So Henry Ford's interested in buying a hydroelectric plant in Muscle Shoals.
What?
I know. And so it goes on for, I think it's covered probably 3 or 4 different parts. How he keeps going back to try and buy this, and a lot of the locals aren't happy, and so he's trying to deal with the government on how to buy this. Of course, he does not end up buying it, but if you are from the Muscle Shoals area, you probably know a little area called Ford City, which has got me wondering if that is because of Henry Ford. If this little community maybe got named after him. I don't know.
Interesting thing to research later.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time in Muscle Shoals. But no, I want to read this because this made me laugh. Chapter 10. Henry Ford was mostly disdainful of books and those who loved them.
Wow. Okay.
In
I
his
feel
opinion,
shame.
people who quote read to escape thinking. So far as Ford was concerned, being literary minded was symptomatic of escalating national softness, with far too many people content to lounge, poring over pages instead of getting on their feet and doing things. Quote, book sickness is a modern element. I thought that was hilarious.
Book sickness.
Yeah. So
Huh.
I just thought that was really interesting. So I mean, I learned a lot. For someone who's from Dearborn, who already knows way too much about Henry Ford, I learned a lot from this one. So next one I chose was Buttermilk Graffiti by Edward Lee. Edward Lee is a Korean American. He is from Kentucky. He is a chef. He knows food. This one I chose, of course, has a Ford Mustang on the cover as well. This is a great book for people who appreciate America as a melting pot kind of culture, because he really brings that out in this. So he's traveling, picking different towns to discuss their food culture and all this, but he's not picking like New York and New Orleans and all these towns that we know are foodie towns.
Yeah.
He's picking really out of the way towns. And funny enough, he goes to Dearborn, Michigan, because Dearborn has a huge Middle Eastern population. We have some amazing Middle Eastern restaurants there. He actually goes to my favorite restaurant, Al Amir, which I thought, I'm reading this going, no way, and discusses that. And at the end of the chapter, so each chapter is a town, and he goes to a few different places, and then he has recipes for those types of foods. So it's kind of like a Ruth Reichl kind of book, or like Under the Tuscan Sun, where you're reading it, but you're also getting recipes. But funny enough, later on in the book, he goes to Montgomery, Alabama, because apparently Montgomery, Alabama has a really good Korean food scene. I never knew that. So one chapter is, designated Montgomery, which is really cool. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. If you like food, or if you like those kind of memoirs like that, this is a really fun book. It was published in 2018, so it's still relatively new. So,
Oh, okay. Is there a holds list for it?
no holds on any of these. So
Yes.
they will be easy to get. But yeah, this was a fun read, and it didn't take long to read at all. But this last one, I got Delia Ephron. I really just chose this because of her. I didn't read much on it, other than it had the Mustang convertible on the front. But then I realized, I knew Delia Ephron was Nora Ephron's sister, and Nora Ephron, of course, wrote When Harry Met Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out Delia Ephron wrote You've Got Mel, Sleepless in Seattle, so pretty much between the sisters, they cover all the Meg Ryan movies of the 90s. So I was really excited to find this out, wanted to read one of her books. This one, The Lion Is In, was published in 2012. It is kind of a mix between, like, Runaway Bride and Thelma and Louise. So it's three women who just kind of run away from their life. They're grown women. They run away from their life.
Does it end in the Grand Canyon, or?
No, it ends in North Carolina.
Ah, okay.
So the car breaks down in a small town. They go to like this roadhouse kind of nightclub thing. And they walk in, and there's a lion, a real lion named Marcel. That was a retired lion from the circus. And so the book revolves around these three women in this town. They get a job at the roadhouse to earn money to pay for the car to get fixed.
Sure.
And while they're there, they all three bond with Marcel in a way.
Aw.
And they kind of, it's like they learn more about themselves by their friendship with Marcel. And so it's a nifty book. I mean, it's very light read.
Yeah.
But if you like that kind of Meg Ryan kind of story where,
Always.
it's a fun little read. But yeah, those are my Sunliners. So
This is another case of Lauren thinks really critically about her book picks, and I type Sun into the book catalog to see what happens. By the way, we have no shortage of nonfiction books on the Sun. Just the Sun.
good.
So once you wade through all those, I found some really cute picks. 2 of them are children's books, and I've said before, if you have the kid who wants you to read the same story 5 times every single night and you need a beer, we have some good picks. The first is a picture book, and this was my first time trying to dig through the picture book bin at the library, which is like a war zone. Kids everywhere grabbing books. Anyway, it's good that they want to read. It's called Sun Flower, Lion by Kevin Hinks. And what I like most about it is it takes a single shape, what like in elementary school where you would draw a circle and then frilly around the outside. So it's that shape. And he uses it in a lot of different ways. So a lot of it is pattern recognition. A lot of it is imagination. How can we use this shape? Well, they use it like a flower. They use it like a lion's head with a mane as the actual sun. And at the end, the lion eats a flower-shaped cookie. Like it's a really cute book. It's way more imaginative than I expected. I saw the lion. I thought, oh, cute lion.
Both going with lions.
Lions. There we go. There's our segue. But yeah, go ahead and check out a cute little picture book. It's really not long. If your kiddo is still in the ripping pages phase, maybe wait on this one. But otherwise, it's a really cute picture book. My other kids one. We have a really nice juvenile nonfiction section.
Yes.
Just the selection across the branches is really nice.
Yes.
So I found Why the Sun and the Moon Live in the Sky, an African folktale by Elphinstone Dayrell. And I will say this is old. It was originally published in the 1910s, and this copy I think was from the 1960s. It's a reprint.
Wow.
Technically, I think this is within like public domain now too. So.
Wow.
It's a Nigerian folktale, and it involves the sun and water being best friends, and the sun always visits the water's house. And he's like, why do you never visit my house? And the water's like, well, your house is too small. Me and all my friends can't fit in your house. And so the sun and his wife, the moon, build a big new house and say, water, please come over. And the water says, okay, can I bring my friends? So he brings the fishes, and he brings the sea creatures, and he brings the tides, and they're filling up his house. He's like, he asks the sun again, are you sure it's okay if I bring all my friends? And the sun, not knowing any better, is like, yes, bring all your friends. Well, the world is largely covered by water. So you see this progression of images where the water and all his friends are slowly rising in this house, and finally the sun and the moon end up on the roof, and then the water explodes out the roof, which leaves the sun and the moon the only place to go in the sky, and they've lived there ever since. One of the coolest things about this book, I think, is it tries to mimic an oral storytelling tradition, and that involves getting very traditional style tribal masks and garb. So it's pictured where on occasion if you see the back of someone's head, you can see the strap that comes around that's holding their large mask on. It's really nice. Don't let the old cover deceive you. It's actually a very, very cute story. And I was talking to our youth director, and I was like, oh, I found this book. She's like, yeah, African folktales never have happy endings with the sun and the water. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll have to look into this. But this is one of the examples I found. My last book is called...
And I'm so glad you picked this one, because I almost picked this one.
No! Bimbos of the Death Sun by Sharon McCrum. How to describe this? It's part murder mystery, part parody. It's written in a very dry wit, sarcastic kind of way, because it's told from the perspective of an accidental sci-fi author who just wanders into this sci-fi convention one day and is just like, these are my observations. So it's overly generalized about science fiction communities, overly stereotyped, and very unkind to women. Very unkind to women. But if you need something that talks a little bit about the sci-fi community and is a good little... I'm not even sure, the murder mystery part of this even ends up mattering. The guy that dies is an author that no one likes and everyone would have killed. So it makes the detective's job that much harder. In addition to it being unkind to women, there is some very dated terminology used in it. So I think it was published in '89. Remember that one, Kirk? Can't find the cover. 88. It was published in 1988. So just be aware as you're reading this that I did warn you that there's some dated terminology in it. But those are my books. Bimbos of the Death Sun does technically have a sequel called Zombies of the Gene Pool. And you can actually get them individually or as a compilation at the library. So if you're interested in both of them, we have that for you. But I think that's all we have. I think. Yeah.
A nice array of books and stuff.
A very wide array of things. But anyway, come to Yellowhammer, try the Sunliner beer. Make sure you subscribe to the Library's YouTube page. And we'll see you somewhere else next